Welcome to the world of probiotic foods. This is Cultured Food Life with your host, Donna Schwenk.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show today. I am your host, Donna, and I hope that I help you on your journey to health and wellness. And if you're new to the show, then let me welcome you to a whole new world of understanding health and wellness. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about understanding 100 trillion microbes that live inside of you. Do you have a friend or a mother or a sister that you go to when you're discouraged or you need help? And you go to them because they uplift you and they encourage you and they make you feel better, right? That's what I do. They are there for you and you can count on them. Well, there is one very special friend that has helped me more than all of my other friends combined. And that is my friend, Kefir. And if you're unfamiliar with kefir, kefir is a fermented food that has billions and billions of microbes in it that has changed my life dramatically. And I call it my friend Kefir because it's probably had the biggest impact on my life. And it's not even a person, it's a food. And 15 years ago, I found kefir. And it helped me normalize my diabetes and high blood pressure. And they were making me so sick. And when you have diabetes, it makes your blood thick and sludgy. It basically like caramelizes it. And it doesn't flow through the veins like it should because there's too much sugar. And it makes you feel really, really bad. And you start to not notice it because you start to get used to that feeling. And that was something that was, happening to me. I felt so bad all the time. I didn't even know what it was to feel good. But that is when I found kefir, and that really changed my life. It was the answer to my cries for help and for my prayers. I was really begging for wellness, and I knew that just medicating myself wasn't the answer, that there was a reason I had diabetes, and there was a reason I had high blood pressure. So many times we just want to slap Band-Aids on it. But there was a reason that my body was freaking out on me. And it was a warning sign. It was trying to help me to show me that the things that I was doing with my lifestyle, the foods that I was eating were causing me and my body to struggle in a dramatic way. And never did I think that the answer would come to me in the form of food. And it's an amazing thing because I think that if I was out there with all the wisdom in the world and I wanted to reach Donna and I wanted to help her, I would probably give her some sort of food, even if it was just a placebo to help her. And that's what happened to me. It came to me, and never in a million years did I think that something so simple could be so life-transforming. But it's not just a simple food. It is containing billions of microorganisms that live inside of me, that when I drink this food that has all these beneficial bacteria and probiotics in it, and good yeast as well, because we don't talk a lot about yeast. People think they're bad, but there's some good ones too that we really need in our bodies. They're our friends. There are comrades in this life. They help us. But when they get out of whack and out of balance, things go haywire. But usually they don't get out of whack unless you're out of whack. And I was out of whack. And I was doing things and eating things and lots of stress and lots of things going on in my life. And it was when I finally got a lot of signals and warning signs that I changed. And I hope that this will encourage you, that there's always help for you. There's always answers trying to come to you. And if you're listening, I hope that this will be something that will encourage you and uplift you and inspire you to change your life. 15 years ago, I found kefir, or it kind of found me. It helped me normalize my diabetes and high blood pressure. But there are so many articles popping up about reasons you should have kefir now. And we're talking about either milk kefir or non-dairy milk kefir. We're not talking about water kefir. That's a different type of food. We're talking about the one that you can make with goat's milk or almond milk or coconut milk or regular milk. All of these foods make this food, this fermented drink called kefir. And even though there are a lot of people writing about it, there are very few of these people writing these articles that have actually drank kefir for 14 or 15 years. And we're talking about day in and day out. And my reasons for drinking kefir are very personal to me and very specific to me. And there are many things I've noticed through the many years of drinking it. It became a lifestyle, it became a habit. It was easy. It was affordable. It was fun to make. It just didn't take me very long. It took me 5 minutes to make it. And doing it for 15 years was a no-brainer. It was simple, and I loved it, and it was delicious. And there was lots of ways that I could use it in other foods. But here's what I've noticed through the many years. I've lived with this food for 15 years, so it's not just something I'm flippantly telling people to do. I've noticed through the thousands of people that I've helped that whatever ailment you seem to have, kefir seems to address the problem on an individual basis. You know, all of us have struggles. All of us have things in our life that will pop up and health problems and we don't understand what's going on. And maybe one symptom isn't really necessarily the problem. It's really reflecting something else. But whenever people write to me and say, kefir has addressed this issue in my life, whether it's I don't need my inhaler for asthma anymore. I've heard that many, many times. Or I had I've had several people tell me to improve their kidney function. And one lady in particular did not have to go on dialysis because of it. And we're going to explain why that happened. And another person that told me that his liver was severely damaged with hepatitis C, and kefir repaired it. And I didn't even know kefir could do any of these things. I have been amazed. I've seen it help people with problems from anything from getting off of drugs and getting them through the detox programs because it helps them detox, to people with syphilis, that it's helped them overcome these problems that they had for over a decade, and symptoms. Autism, food allergies. I mean, guys, I wish you could live in my world. I wish you could get the emails that I get every day. It is an amazing thing, all that kefir did. And I'm amazed because it healed me, and I didn't expect it to. And for many years, I was in awe of all that it could do. But as the years have continued, I am a believer that kefir is not just a food, but it's a healer. And kefir is a combination of microbes that, through the magic of fermentation, adds more vitamins and special properties to an ordinary substance, healing so many who consume it. So each day, as I stand in my kitchen and I make kefir for myself and my family, I am so grateful. Grateful for what it has done for me and continues to do so. And thankful that it's so easy, it's inexpensive, and it has helped so many individuals that I have come in contact with that it just makes my cup runneth over. Every day, I am thankful for the answers to my prayers coming to me in the form of food that sat upon my counter with billions of microbes. I sure do love my friend kefir. So here are the 7 reasons I have kefir every day. You may find that kefir will address things not mentioned in these 7 reasons. And that would not surprise me in the very least, because it happens every day. People who have ailments that I didn't even know kefir would help, it has helped them. So if you're looking for something to help you a little bit, I greatly encourage you to try kefir and see what it does for you, because I don't have to convince you. It's an amazing food. It does the work. I'm just the messenger here. Okay, so the first thing kefir did for me, and one of the first reasons I had kefir every day, this was the very first thing that happened to me, was that kefir lowered my blood pressure. This is something that happened many years ago, and it dropped my blood pressure when it was really high, and it made me stop and take notice. Because when I would drink it, it had such an impact on me. And if I stopped drinking it, my blood pressure would go back up. And so I noticed, I was shocked that it could do this. And that was in the first few weeks of consuming kefir. I noticed that was doing it. And so I kind of played around with it because I wanted to see if it was really the kefir. And lo and behold, it was. And years later, I found out research to support why it was doing that. And it was pretty amazing. I continue to drink kefir every day to keep my blood sugar normal and my body happy. But kefir was found, some of the research was that kefir was found to work on an enzyme in the stomach, much like an ACE inhibitor drug will do, to lower blood pressure naturally in 1 out of 3 people. And I have research in that in my book, Cultured Food for Health. You can see the study on that. And it's also an amazing thing because it reduced inflammation throughout the body. And more studies are finding that probiotic fermented milk products has blood pressure lowering effects in those who are pre-hypertensive and hypertensive people. And, you can read more of this in my book, Cultured Food for Health, which was my second book. And it explains more and gives you the research and the studies on it. It's an amazing thing. But it was, and for many years, I watched it drop my blood pressure, but I didn't understand why it was doing that. I didn't know what it was until the studies came out many years later. And it was amazing to me. The second thing that kefir did was that it lowered my blood sugar because I had diabetes. And when I started drinking it, that was the second thing that it did, is normalize my blood sugars. And so from that day to this, I've been drinking it ever since. I don't have diabetes anymore. That went away very quickly for me. It was an amazing thing. People don't realize that type 2 diabetes is really, diet and exercise can literally completely get rid of type 2 diabetes. It's an amazing thing. And they don't preach that enough. They don't talk about it enough because it is devastating. I have a lot of diabetes in my family. And we have the type 1 diabetes in sister and then a close a niece. And my dad had type 2 and a lot of other people had type 2. So it's something that runs in my family. And I've seen the devastating impacts that it can have on people's lives, and people don't realize how devastating it can be to the body. It's really, really hard on you. And so I want to get rid of it as quickly as possible. And I was really surprised how well it normalized my blood sugars. It was an amazing thing, and I didn't expect it to do that. But many studies are confirming that altered gut flora is present in humans and animals with insulin resistance, diabetes, and hypertension. And the research suggests that people who have insulin resistance have microbes in their gut that are different from the microbes of healthy people. So there's a lot of evidence that feeding probiotics and prebiotics to those with diabetes-related metabolic disorders can dramatically reduce insulin resistance. And it happened to me. It can help restore glucose sensitivity and lower blood pressure, and can help you lose weight by altering the gut flora and encouraging the right kind of microbes to thrive and grow. I've had many people tell me that it's helped them with their blood sugar. That's an amazing thing that I've seen. And a lot of times it depends on how severe your blood sugar is. But with me, it got rid of it, but it doesn't always get rid of it right away because you may have had it for a while and you have other factors involved. But it can really make a difference if you start on that path of drinking kefir, because it does reduce inflammation throughout the body, can make such a difference. My CPA, who's a good friend of mine, saw such a dramatic results from kefir because she had type 2 diabetes that her doctor told her to never stop drinking it because her numbers would get horrible when she would stop drinking it. And, and at first she didn't think it would work, and then it did. So she was shocked, and then she would quit doing it, and then her numbers would go haywire. And she's really unhealthy, by the way. So, and I love her to death, but she hasn't cleaned up the rest of her diet, and I'm shocked that kefir is helping her as much as it is. But her doctor said, if you can't control what else you're eating, please make sure you keep drinking that kefir because it seems to be working on your blood sugar numbers. So I encourage you to clean up your diet in every area. There's a lot of reasons that I had diabetes. Lack of exercise in my life wasn't good either, but I hadn't started exercise. I had just done a kefir, and it made such a big difference that it made me feel so good that I wanted to exercise. And whenever you exercise and you have diabetes, it's wonderful because it pulls that all that circulating sugar out of the bloodstream, puts it into the muscle, and dramatically lowers your blood sugar too. So that's another thing that can really help you with blood sugar, along with kefir, that I really encourage you to do, because guys, you don't want diabetes. You don't want it. And exercise and diet can get rid of it. It's an incredible thing. And the body's designed to do this, but you got to help it. You're the captain of your ship, just like I was, and it can make a huge difference in your life. Okay, the third thing that kefir really works well with is acid reflux. That was the third thing that I noticed, and this came from my husband. He had terrible acid reflux. And not only did it stop his acid reflux, so he wouldn't have to take those antacids every day, which, by the way, can mess up your gut flora. They may calm down your acid reflux, but they're really hard on the microbes in your gut, which make things worse over time. They may temporarily relieve you, but over time, they really mess things up and make it worse for you. So you'll have more problems with acid reflux. But it also helped normalize and restore his gut, along with reducing his acid reflux. And many people have experienced the same thing. It's funny because I see it a lot in men who come to my classes, will share with me how they got off their prescription medications with kefir and how grateful they are that they found this remedy and that they didn't have to buy their medications any longer. And it's a wonderful thing when you find something that works so easily for you. It's not a drug. You know, people are unaware that many antibiotics destroy certain bacteria that we need to keep acid reflux in check. And it's becoming quite common, and more people are getting acid reflux due to this particular bacteria that's being destroyed by antibiotics. And Martin Blaser, MD, talks about this in his book called Missing Microbes, which I highly recommend you read. It's a fascinating book. And he talks about how they've been giving people certain antibiotics for certain other problems. Well, it gets rid of the one problem, but then it causes acid reflux severely because there's a certain bacteria in our bodies that we need that helps keep acid reflux in check. It's kind of cool, actually. It's like a little science story in there of all the missing microbes and all the things they do. Because when you wipe out a whole set of microbes, you can cause a host of other problems that you didn't expect. And that happens with food allergies. It happens with people who have ulcers. And it's an interesting thing how it works. So if you're interested, you should check out his book called Missing Microbes. It's really great. We just don't realize how the inner workings of our body do so many things. And it's wonderful because kefir can help correct this. Kefir and hay fever is my fourth thing that I love kefir for. For over 40 years, guys, I had seasonal allergies. And as long as I changed my diet and had lots of kefir during seasonal allergy time, which was usually in the spring. And when I say lots of kefir, I'm saying at least 2 cups a day. I stayed away from inflammatory foods. Those allergies don't flare up. But when you have hay fever, your immune system is overreacting to a substance it should not be overreacting to. Our immune system must distinguish between allies that can be beneficial to our health and enemies that can have harmful effects on our health. So your bacteria is doing that inside of you, and your immune system is doing it too. The trillions of bacteria that live in your gut help to determine that recognition. When it fails, an immune response can occur. So restoring beneficial bacteria, because they're kind of like the alert system for the body. So when you restore these beneficial bacteria in the gut, it allows the body to function as it should. A study was done with 60 hay fever sufferers who were given daily drinks containing Lactobacillus casei, and this is found in kefir, one of the 50 strains found in kefir. And those who received this probiotic drink saw changes in allergic inflammation in their nasal lining, as well as changes in their blood that were associated with immune responses. And I have found many things influence your seasonal allergies. It's not just one or two things, and it has much to do with what you shouldn't eat as well as what you should be adding to your diet. And staying away from sugars and processed foods is so crucial, because if you don't, your immune system is already fighting a battle with these allergies. And so when you add an inflammatory food to that, it flares everything up, and you're going to get an immune response, which is usually an allergy, and you just don't want that. The fifth thing that I love the kefir does for me is it detoxes me and keeps me in balance. It also boosts the immune system, but it's really a very powerful detoxifier. With more than 50 good strains of microbes, it colonizes the body, removes pathogens, and reestablishes the proper balance of strains of microbes throughout the body. And this includes keeping Candida yeast in its proper place. One of the fastest ways to get a yeast overgrowth is by taking an antibiotic. The connection between healthy gut flora and allergies was directly studied by immunologist Gary Huffingale and his colleagues at the University of Michigan. It's interesting because his experiment was a group of mice. They were given an antibiotic, and in an effort to disturb the natural bacteria levels in the system, they give mice antibiotics. And after the bacteria are killed off, because the antibiotics kill the good and the bad bacteria, the scientists threw off the balance of microbes even more by feeding them the yeast Candida. And the resulting low bacteria and high yeast ratio approximates the conditions of having a yeast infection. It's how they induce yeast infections in animals, by killing off the good bacteria. And then they exposed them to spores of molds, and they had different substances that had these molds in them to cause allergic reactions in the mice. And the mice in the control group, whose gut bacteria was undisturbed, who had not been given the antibiotics, had a very, very, very mild reaction to this allergic responses to the molds and all these things they were trying to get them to have a response with. But those who had been given antibiotics had severe responses to these molds and seasonal allergy things. It caused the mice to overreact in a severe way compared to the other mice that had not had the antibiotics. And when you kill off a lot of the good bacteria in your body, you're letting Candida thrive and grow and multiply, which also is hard on your immune system and will also make your allergies worse. So kefir will help assist you with that by reducing inflammation throughout the body, but also assist by helping the liver and detoxifying you. And also 50% of your detoxification is in your gut. So it's going to help you greatly detoxify your body. Now, the sixth thing this is a really good one. I love this one because kefir can lower your cholesterol. One day I got a really text from my good friend, Shelly. And Shelly drinks a lot of kefir, like 3 cups a day and sometimes more. And in her text, she said her cholesterol had gotten higher. And she said she laughed because she said it was her good cholesterol that went through the roof. And her doctor was amazed. I've had lots of people post on my Facebook page at Donna Cultured Food Life that keep telling me that their cholesterol is getting better and better when they started eating fermented foods. And in fact, their good cholesterol rises so significantly and their bad cholesterol lowers that they're really surprised how good their numbers are. And it's a very interesting thing to understand how all this works. And I have research for that in some of my books and on my website. It's neat how it works because beneficial microbes, the way that they bring down the cholesterol levels is that they grow inside the intestinal tract and then they consume some of the cholesterol that is present, incorporating it into their own cells. So this means the cholesterol becomes unavailable for absorption from the intestines into the bloodstream. So it just naturally lowers your cholesterol. And I just think that's super cool. Okay, so number 7, kefir's calming effect on the central nervous system. And I love this one. This is one of the miracles that I have found that kefir performs for me. When I am super stressed out, 2 to 3 cups of kefir spread throughout the day will calm me down and chill me out. Kefir contains, oh my gosh, so many vitamins, minerals, enzymes, calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, vitamin B2, B3, B6, B12, folic acid, vitamin K, vitamin A, vitamin D. It has tons. And 2 cups of kefir has most of the B12 you'll need in a day. And that's pretty awesome because that's pretty hard to get. But it also has a lot of amino acids. Tryptophan is one of the essential amino acids abundant in kefir, and it's known for its a relaxing effect on your central nervous system. These complete proteins in kefir are partially digested, and therefore they're more easily utilized by your body. Because kefir also has an abundance of calcium and magnesium, and it's really important, guys, that we get minerals for our healthy nervous system because our soils are depleted of a lot of minerals, and you get more minerals, you get more magnesium in kefir because it helps you absorb it, and it helps you absorb the calcium, and it has a really calming effect on the nerves. I can testify to that. Believe me, I've seen it happen. It's why I keep drinking it. I mean, we eat foods and stuff because they taste good and because they make us, feel a certain way. And sometimes those foods will make us feel good for the moment and then make us feel awful later on, like sugar or, we think we want that. Well, kefir's the opposite. It's like, I have found all these ways to make it be wonderful and taste delicious, but it also has this effect on me that I just can't get anywhere else. So I continue to drink it because it not only helps, blood pressure and blood sugars and all those things, which are really a part of my past, so I don't even worry about them anymore. But now I know it also helps calm me down and just makes me happy. It makes me feel good about what I'm doing with my life because I'm seeing so many benefits from so many people. And these are just a few of the many things kefir's done for me. And I'm not just spouting facts and studies. I mean, I've lived these experiences and I love to tell others about them. When you make something and you make something of food and it heals you, you pay attention. And when you see other people struggling, you want to help them because you remember the pain of what that was like. And guys, I never want to go back to the life that I had and the way that I used to feel. Billions of microbes in a glass of kefir that are just waiting to help you. They can only do this if you give them the okay. So don't you think it's time to maybe give it a whirl? It's easy to make. It's fun to make. It takes like 5 minutes. It's so much easier than yogurt. It's mind-boggling to me that I even found something so easy that it does all the work for you. It makes you microbes while you sleep. And you get up in the morning and you've got a jar of kefir that you can start your day with. It's just a cup of kefir. I love to make recipes like kefir breakfast pudding or, guys, I make so many. It's ridiculous. I probably have, 400 recipes, I think, on my website. And then I have 3 books with over 100 recipes in each one of those books of all the different cultured foods that I eat. And I make them because I am never going back to feeling the way I used to feel. It changes everything when you feel good. So I hope this encourages you. I hope it inspires you. And let me teach you how to make kefir. It's super easy. Come over to my website at culturedfoodlife.com. And I've got 2 different ways to make it. One's called Easy Kefir and the other is with live kefir grains, and they're both easy. Pick the one that suits you, and in 24 hours you'll have kefir. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. But most of all, I hope you try some kefir.